Welcome back to the UOL where Unicorns of Love have taken Game 1 in such a decisive fashion, and we're about to see if Vitality can bring it back here in Game 2.
Judging from Game 1, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. But I think there are some changes, maybe if we look at the pick and ban phase we saw in the last game, where after the Rengar first pick came in and the trap was kind of set up already by the Unicorns, when they went Malzahar, Jhin, I wonder, have we seen like Zyra Ashe instead? Lulu suddenly wouldn't have been a pick because you can't lane that properly against Zyra Ashe. And I think a lot of things could have changed. As Power Evil said on the analysis though, Rengar should still be able to get early kills with Malzahar ulti available, but Joko actually messed up. And I think that's something worth highlighting as well, especially on the tower.
Well, the question is then, do you just run it back? Do you try for a similar draft? Do you go for the same option? I mean, Vitality have now chosen red side, so...
They're like, yeah, we're not going to try this again. We're not going to risk the Rengar first pick into this comp that Unicorns wants to play against it. Even if it could work, they're saying, no, let's just leave it. They're picking red side, and again, yesterday we saw blue side every time a team had side selection, they went blue. Again, just to avoid having to ban this Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc combo. But Vitality in this case saying, it didn't work with blue side. Let's get last picks ourselves.
And of course, the strength of red side, not only do you get that last pick, you have a lot of control over the second rotation of bans and the final pick in the first rotation of picks. So still a lot of strength on that side, just a lot less flexibility in what you can ban coming into the draft overall.
But man, as a coach, facing the Unicorns of Love, especially in the BO3s, BO5s, it must be so frustrating sometimes because you come in and you have this like meta draft prepared where, oh, things like Rengar is here, let's take it. Malzahar is fantastic, let's grab him. And then it get countered by things that I think maybe you were expecting some of them, but probably not all of them. Well, and now you then go into the next draft, and you're kind of like, ooh, what could they have
And not
planned?
only that, you have a couple minutes between a game to make a plan. You make a new plan, right, to deal with that draft. Maybe they have something new. And of course, new picks and bans, only 30 seconds to make a decision. A lot less time to adapt on the fly, a lot less time to theory craft any kind of counter pick.
Which is why I 100% agree with Vitality just saying, let's swap sides. Because then we don't have to think about how to counter that draft if we're blue side again. Because now it's a complete new pick and ban phase. We will most likely not see anything close to what we saw in the last game with this like Rengar in to protect the backline.
You say that and it may just come true. 3 mid laners taken off the board and the Rengar taken away as well.
Should be Camille last ban for Vitality. I think that one is a little bit too disgusting to leave open. Even if there are some soft counters to it, most of them end up just being like a skill matchup, a 50-50 matchup where Camille can still snowball out of control, which is why she's so hard to deal with. LeBlanc being banned by the Unicorns of Love doesn't want to get forced into first picking it by it being left open. Also with Ryze being banned. And Ryze, of course, is one of Exile's signature picks, and he was the first guy to really bring in the new Ryze to professional games.
And really the first person to show off how strong the Realm Warp ultimate can be, whether it was porting his team out of the Baron Pit or using some fancy footwork to juke what seemed an impossible escape. Overall, a very strong Ryze player. Makes us take it off the board, and Ivern.
Camille is open. Capuchat is saying, you know what? I can play against it. Both teams now.
There it is.
Teams.
The first Camille,
right.
EULCS.
Let's remember, Camille is flex. She can be a jungler as well, but top lane is still where most people are using her. And Capuchat feeling confident. He's definitely going to pick a carry against it.
Notice that there are no top lane bans here. We saw Rumble and Shen taken off the board by Vitality last time. This time they said, take it. We know you're forced into Camille. I think Capo's just going to go Aurelio or Jax or Fiora. He's going to bring it out.
There is also a chance he just says, I'm going to pick like Shen. I'm going to build like full armor and you're not going to kill me, and I'm just going to use my ulti to snowball my bot lane. That chance is there, but this is Capuchat we're talking about. So I'm gonna say we're gonna get a carry. We're gonna get a carry versus carry up in the top lane, where if Capuchat loses, Camille takes over the game. Unless she goes jungle and it's all ruined.
We will find out here as Unicorns of Love enter their second rotation of picks. Vitality have locked in theirs first. Once again, getting their hands on the Malzahar and the Jhin, rinsing and repeating what we saw in Game 1.
I think it is a little bit risky though, again, early picking Malzahar here because Zyra is available. And I think Zyra is a perfectly fine pick here against it. MF is also an option. And Lulu, of course, also an option, as we saw in the last game. There's like multiple counters ready for the Unicorns of Love against this very early Malzahar pick.
Taking a lot of time here. Will they take the Lulu away? But the Rumble, we have to mention as well, as the Lulu is locked in, mention that we have seen this in solo queue as a very prominent jungler. We didn't really expect to see it in competitive play as a jungler. So do you think it's going to be Chachi in the top lane with this Rumble or with this Camille?
I mean, Unicorns of Love probably doesn't know it yet. It depends on what Vitality is picking, and I think that's one of the really fun things about double flex pick here, is that we still don't know who you're actually dealing with. Because if Vitality picks Shen, you put Rumble top against him.
You just have to feel for Vitality. This has to be such a frustrating position. They picked Olaf, they picked Jhin, they picked Malzahar. They have raw power on their side, but they don't know, honestly, where any of these champions are going to go. We have to assume Lulu support, but we haven't seen Lulu in so long. Are you really even comfortable saying it won't go into a solo lane?
I'm pretty confident in saying, especially after a lot of the nerfs, that it will be support against the Malzahar. Vitality doing what we see so often, really nothing worth highlighting. When you pick your AD carry and the enemy has not picked theirs, you start banning like Ashe and Varus. Unicorns of Love removing that Shin we talked about as one of those picks against Camille. And also because Vitality had a comp that could once again try and snowball bot lane with the Malzahar ulti. But yeah, Varus and Ashe, no real big surprises, meaning we probably see Caitlyn again from Samux.
Still, of course, a very safe pick, very easy to control the lane with that extra range, as well as dissuade tower dives with traps. Won't be quite so effective against the Olaf, but Poppy taking off the board as well. Chachi's saying, come at me. Yeah. He's daring him to pick a carry here.
We talked about how traditionally you pick some of these tanks against Camille and you just survive the laning phase and you snowball the other side of the map. But Unicorns, they want the skill matchup top lane. They want Capo Shot against Camille!
Yes! Now we just have to see if the Unicorns of Love are going to agree with our, Draco's Deficio fan fiction, and we're going to get the two top laners playing
we will.
Or is Rumble just going to go up
No, we're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting Fiora versus Camille, Capo Shot versus VIT Chachi in the top lane. So there's early game jungler that can gank from Vitality and Olaf. That is important to highlight because right now we expect Rumble to be the jungler for Unicorn, and Rumble is not really the guy who ganks a whole lot early on.
Very fast clear time.
He's fast clear time, but he's not helping his lanes, and that can snowball heavily in favor of Vitality.
And you have to think Camille is very strong, but if Fiora finds an early lead, I mean, we've seen what happens in these Bruiser top lane matchups. They just take over. Orianna now locked in for Exile. The team comp is assembled, and it feels very similar to what the Unicorns of Love played before. Now, they have made some changes here, but two protection elements for Samux once again.
Yeah, once again, and just safe scaling in the mid lane with Orianna. It was a blind pick for Exile here, and very few things can actually dumpster Orianna. I almost say almost nothing can actually straight up ruin her day. So we get to see just a Talia once again, and this was Vitality potentially looking for that global comp that could snowball, steal back down the bottom lane. But obviously the Shen ban ruined that one a little bit, and instead we get Fiora versus Camille. I still think the fact that there's an Olaf on one side to help the Fiora might make it a little bit unfair.
I mean, I'm just waiting, because I'm not 100% confident they're not going to swap yet. I want to get excited. I want to talk about this with you, but they could, Deficio. They could.
They have 10 seconds to do it. It's all the way down to 20 seconds. You need to have swapped.
Come on. Fighter v fighter.
It's Camille top.
1v1.
Don't do it.
The ultimate man. All right, there we go. It is.
We keep it. We keep it. Also, like playing Rumble against Fiora once Fiora gets a few items is not very fun in that side lane.
Not at all. But we do have two very exciting compositions picked up here. It's the top lane fight matchup that we've been waiting for so long. No more Maokai. No more Poppy. No more Nautilus.
And two carries that obviously can get out of control. Camille is just even faster at getting out of control because she also has this annoying ability where she can fly through the map because she can hook herself to a wall and then shoot herself forward, double the range when she's going against a champion. So once she's fed, you're never gonna get away from her.
Hashtag Unicorns of Love win, hashtag VIT win, or UOL win rather. Probably don't need to type the whole thing, but whenever you prefer.
It'll be a long one, long hashtag.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2, Unicorns of Love versus Vitality. If you're a Vitality win fan, you have to hope that they find 2 wins back to back. The Unicorns of Love, you're only gonna need 1 more to secure this victory. Team's already leaving the base.
And when we were researching Camille and potential counters against her, a lot of the picks that came up outside of just the standard tanks like Shen was like maybe Irelia, maybe Fiora. People weren't really sure because it was very often just 50-50s up there, and it just came down to skill, honestly. Fiora is, of course, a champion that scales fantastic towards the late game. And Camille is technically designed in the way that late game, she can struggle against heavy split pushers.
Of course, we got the chance to speak a little bit to the designer, Riot Jag, who put Camille together, who launched this kit, and he said, in theory, she's better at team fights than the average split pusher, and she's a little worse at split pushing than the average split pusher. She fits in between that tank role and that split pusher role. But he said, but right now she's a little overtuned, and she kind of does everything super well.
That's why it's hard to say with like the intended thing with her and say it's actually gonna happen, because she is obviously overtuned at the moment, which is why all these pro teams are just banning her over and over. But we can't forget, there's still the Malzahar in the bot lane, which means Vitality have another lane they can snowball. But I want to see Joko early game focus top lane.
And honestly, they have, even if Joko doesn't want to focus top lane, they have a very similar opening on the bottom lane, because Malzahar holds him still, Olaf gets in there with that damage.
Of course.
And once he's on top of you, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. But interesting start here coming in. Steelback and Hachani look like they are going to take red buff level 1.
So there's a lot less wards level 1 after trinkets were changed. So they actually managed to sneak in from River when there was nothing being placed, because remember back, last year, people would just walk the entire river level 1. You could see every single thing. You could see everyone who walked into your jungle. You don't do that anymore. So Hachani and Steelback actually found a way to take away red buff, because if you're on Malzahar, with your Voidlings, it's very easy.
Well, in level 2, when you get the Malefic Visions, is so important. It gives the movement speed to get in there, makes it easier. See Exile taking a lot of damage on the back of that level 2, and they have to respect Hachani as long as this red buff is up and available.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're also just taking it away from the enemy jungler. That is important because you're trying to get a jungle advantage here. Funny thing, by the way, when Lulu auto-attacks Malzahar, if he is too quick on placing his Voidling, because the
bolts can be interrupted.
The bolts, yeah, exactly. The bolts actually follow after the auto. The Voidling just dies instantly, even though you're actually auto-attacking the Malzahar, because the Voidling is just right in front of him, and yep, rip.
Observers, I know normally we chastise you for focusing on the top lane, but no hard
lock
feelings this time.
Lock
Just
the camera
lock the
top.
camera. They're going to kill each other bottom. We're not worried about it. We want to see the fighters fight.
Okay, Joko. Problem for him is he's on top side, and Capushot has pushed a wave, so he's not really able to get an easy gank off, and Chachi is full HP, so diving is a little bit out of the picture as well. Capushot trying to bait and all in because Joko is nearby. But Chachi obviously knows he's not gonna fall for that one. He has zero vision on top lane. His jungler's in the bottom lane. Not the time to just randomly go crazy unless Capushot gets a little bit too low.
See Chachi getting aggressive, trying to wait for that adaptive defense's cooldown before he goes for anything crazy. Very patient, doesn't want to burn the hook shot, the wall dive, until he's seen the parry from Capushot go away. Chachi may have the raw power on his hands, but honestly, Cabo has the experience, much more time competitively playing these powerhouse split pushers. Last season, we saw it. We saw 3 victories for Vitality over the 1 to Unicorns of Love, and that was Irelia and Jax in the hands of Capushot. This man is a master of fighters.
Yeah, funny enough, when Vitality 2-0 Unicorns of Love in the start of the summer split, Capushot had Irelia in both those games that you just mentioned. He was up in the first game 11 CS at 10, and the second game 22 CS at 10. Picked up a ton of kills. He was 6-1, and then he was 11-2, and he really hard carried. This is what you can do as Camille, in case you've never seen her before. And trust me, when you're playing an AD carry in a side lane late game and that happens, you just die.
Going Snare gonna connect as well. Hellsang gonna have to flash to safety. Joko on the way in. Another axe connects. Flash forward. First blood. One last shot from Steelback to clean up that kill.
Yeah, we had Joko top lane first, but Capushot had the lane push, so he couldn't gank. Meant he had to just put his focus elsewhere, and clearly surprising Hellsang down the bottom lane that he actually showed up so quickly. And that's a kill now for Vitality. We're still waiting for Hachani level 6, which is a really good way to snowball that side. Let's see what the Rumble can do.
Moving his way up. Ready to go in, is now in the danger zone as well. That's maximum damage. Parry might be available for Capushot, though. They're not going to connect the stun. Just getting down some decent damage. You can see the jungle matchup here on your screen.
Yeah, jungle is obviously very important when you have some of these snowball matchups. last game. We got to see them be part of every single kill. Congratulations to Joko, your team had 2 kills.
100% kill participation.
There you go, great stat.
And it's interesting too on the side, you know, Cersei, we played that Ivern, he was a part of every kill in that game, and very different pace for him now in Rumble. He doesn't get to be a part of the early game. He has to wait to scale up.
And he was denied that red buff early, costing him a bit in terms of his first clear. He's a level down at the moment against Joko, because Joko was also part of that first flood. But really, really important thing that still happened up with Xerxes here just poking Cabochard, because what happens always is both top laners will TP back to lane after the first recall to make sure they keep up in CS and experience. So going in and just poking him actually did a lot. Joko is trading with Chachi.
Chachi in comes Rumble. That's decent damage. Flash over the wall. No opportunity to get out. Xerxes gonna look for a kill back. Cabo may have bit off more than he can chew. Now pulling back 1-for-1 overall. Flash forward from Xerxes. He's gonna roll in. Not gonna get stunned up. Overheating. Cabo in trouble. Double kill. Ask and you shall receive. 100% kill participation. There it is again.
We just said he was slightly behind. He's no longer behind after getting those 2 kills. Achani gonna try and just be annoying against Samox and see if they can connect the snare, but they do miss. Jungler's picking up all the kills top. Just assist for the actual top laners.
And once again, while level 6 may have been picked up by Exile, by Cersei, by Nuke Duck, the bottom lane not quite as close, waiting for those all-important level 6 before we see the action plays coming in from Hachani.
And it's just so key with this jungle focus top. We keep talking about it because it's all about getting one of these split pushes rolling. Joko started taking a lot of damage, but then Chachi is sadly for him a little bit too early in the fight, and that's why Cabochard can take him down with Joko.
Of course, small mistake as well on the hook shot. Stunned him up while the adaptive defensive shield was still available. But luckily, he's got a new jungler on his team who's more than happy to pick up the pieces.
And a new jungler who's doing pretty damn well for his first games in the UOL CS. See some more trading. Both level 6 now. Both of them, funny enough, actually want to stay inside the same little circle. You don't want to obviously stay in the same circle as Fiora once it's procced, but also you can't really get out of it, so you don't have a choice when Camille ults you.
So you remember, we'll keep our eyes on the bottom lane just in case as some level 6s are coming out. We'll hold that thought for a second because it looks like there's going to be a party down here. Weaver's wall comes out. Samox is locked up against the wall. Hachani's only level 5, but he's moving forward. Joko looks like he's going to grab his first kill of the game. Samox goes down. Hylissang is next. Vitality taking control of the bottom side.
And this is exactly what Vitality wanted to do last game with Taliyah. It's what we mentioned they would do in this game. Okay, Hachani didn't hit level 6 yet. But as soon as they can roam to the bottom side and create these easy picks, they will do it. Yes, we hype up the top lane. We talk about top lane. But it's because we were just waiting for ultis to be ready for Vitality on the bottom side. And that's just what they want in this game here. Because now Cabochard can actually just try and go even on top side. And he's AD carry, he's jungler, he's mid laner. They're getting the kills. They're going to be the strong members.
And the big thing too, Hachani not even level 6. He comes back to lane, he gets that level 6. It's one more fight in the favor of Vitality if they can set it off right. Things already looking much better for them in this game. No massive gold lead on either side. We'll take one more look at how it happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good Taliyah play. Nuke Duck also knows he doesn't need to actually keep the wall up or anything because Samox is instantly dead. Top lane fight, he's ultis!
Defensives, Hextech ultimate, it's the 1v1 you've always wanted. Visit Chachi pushes back against the wall, makes sure Cabo can't get the proc, but he gets it anyway. Chachi's in trouble, but both sides are gonna back off.
Yeah, it's really, really hard for Chachi to actually burst down Cabochard because if he is keeping him in his ulti, then obviously Cabochard can very easily proc his own ulti and get back to HP, and also with Camille. It's really hard to actually try and land the stun with an E because it's so predictable. So Cabochard will just block that and riposte it. And that means Chachi's not able to actually take him down at the moment. Maybe if you bring in your jungler.
Got a feel for it. Rumble just walks in. He doesn't have any hard CC, but what he does have is a ton of damage. Always have to respect him. Always gonna have to back off there.
And I guess killing people is some sort of CC.
Yeah, Death I've heard is the best CC.
It's my favorite.
Moving in. I think surprisingly, Exile's struggling a lot more in this mid lane than he was in the previous game. Now, admittedly, Nuke Duck does now have a kill as an advantage, but feeling pretty rough overall for Exile on this Orianna.
I mean, this is what Taliyah can do. She can very often just push out her lane and then start roaming down. Hachani's 6 and it's another roam.
Saying just gonna have to flash to safety.
Oh, I think Vitality went a little bit aggressive too fast there. Because Nuke Duck hadn't actually moved in position to ulti just yet, and he had a few seconds on his ulti as well. So they could have maybe picked up more, but they didn't get to push Unicorns back, and now we get the reaction, just a full set of defenders down here keeping the tower alive.
At the end of the day, Vitality are going to back off. Don't want to mess with that equalizer. Cannot afford to take a fight. Hylissang getting level 6, getting the wild growth will make it that much easier. Both sides playing very safe around those ultimate cooldowns. And honestly, a lot of action here in the early game, but neither side taking too big of an advantage quite yet.
But it's Vitality who can create the plays. Unicorns will love have a composition that wants to 5-on-5 team fight later on in the game. It's hard for him to really force anything at the moment with this Rumble jungle as well. Vitality have Talia ulti. They have Malzahar ulti. They don't care about the tower either. They can dive. And that means Unicorns, they can't really force plays, but they can at least take a free objective because Vitality, they're all back in base.
Yeah, Cloud Drake gonna get picked up here. We'll offer a buff if they manage to take the Elder Dragon later. We'll make it easier to get back by lane, or back to lane, if only about half a second to a second faster. And at the end of the day, it may look like the trades are going even on the top side, but you gotta keep your eyes on that CS, 91 to 69.
Yeah, Chachi getting a good advantage up here, even though he lost that all in, and combo shot!
In trouble. VIT just gonna run to safety. He doesn't have to use it to engage. Flash out. Cabo still wants more. Waiting. Parry going in. Hextech ultimatum available. Gonna try to trap him in there. Cabo cannot afford
the bait!
Chachi says, here's the ultimatum.
So when you use Camille's ulti, you're untargetable for just a short second.
Hylissang's about to die. Whatever can't be disabled. Vitality may not be able to get anything on the top side, but they're more than happy to pick up one on the bottom. And Nuke Duck not done yet. Moving forward. Flash is burned. Action across the map.
This is a fun series. I love this. Both teams are playing some super fun League of Legends. Xerxes taking damage.
Xerxes trying to do his best to kill the minions so they can't continue the dive. Rumble is so low, he's burning down. He's gonna drop. Pachani grabs that one. Nuke Duck goes down.
Ooh, she's getting fed. Okay, so again, once we see the top lane replay, just notice the timing on Chachi's ultis. Because as I said, for just like a short second, you can't be targeted by anything when you pop that ulti. And Kabashak got baited super hard.
It's so easy to forget that there's that essentially a parry mechanic, similar to Fizz, the troll pool from Vladimir. Easy to forget about those opportunities to dodge damage, and in the heat of the moment, it was Cabo who forgot, but now it's Steelback.
Oh, he's the ball delivery system, it's a Lulu.
And overstayed is welcome. Exile moving forward. Lulu a little too slow.
Yeah.
I almost said a little too short, but that isn't really a thing.
They can still be fast. Anyway, okay, let's get it here. The funny thing is, Kabashak doesn't actually need to all in here because his team is winning the bottom side of the map, but he goes for it, and now in his mind he's like, I can get this, but look at the ulti from Chachi, dodges out of the damage, and you can't get out. There's nowhere to go for Kabashak. I think this is just him wanting to show that he can win this matchup when he didn't actually have to do it.
Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Hylissang gets involved in a staring contest with the scary man from the Void. That usually doesn't go very well for anyone. Nope. But the top lane matchup, of course. So hyped, these little outplays that you can do.
Just set up following this one. Nice Rumble ulti coming in, but obviously Voidlings, a crit. Samex is like, I could block this one for my jungler, but nah, I'm just gonna start hitting this Malzahar in the face, and I'm not actually even close to killing him. Guess.
Gotta buff that damage stat, Deficio. How dare you?
That's actually true.
Like,
you're an AD carry. It's not your job to block ultis.
No. It's only about damage. Everyone else is a shield for you.
And then AD carries complain when everyone hates them. Do we actually still hate AD carries? I'm not really sure
I don't think we hate
what a meme is at the moment.
Yeah. I think we're okay with AD carries. Mostly because supports get to do damage now.
Right,
so it's like hard to be mad at AD carries.
Yeah, we laugh at the AD carries.
They're like, oh, we get to do damage with one item. How many items do you need? Oh, 4?
Oh, so cute.
Now focusing back in, you can see VIT more than happy to apply that lead on the top side, and the CS lead continues to grow, 30 now in his favor, and the Trinity Force has been completed. A massive power spike for any champion that'll pick it up, and Camille is no exception.
And one of the most said phrases by any caster, the Trinity Force power spike is here right now for VIT. Normally you can go straight into Tiamat after, because it's so easy to keep getting multiple procs from it when you can auto, Q, auto.
And keep in mind...
And Q again, and then auto again.
Yeah, the Q spacing is perfectly synced up with the Sheen timing as well. So it just feels so powerful to use.
Yeah, because you Q, and then you wait obviously for the empowered one, and then you do it again.
You get Sheen procs on both. Meanwhile, bot lane remains relatively back and forth. Early Whimsy trying to lock it up, but Chani wants to go forward. Rumble can throw down the ultimate on top of him, and Chani biting off a bit more than he can chew. Caitlyn ult not up yet. We're gonna have to back off. Joko choosing to get out of this fight. Vitality had the setup, but couldn't quite execute on it.
And we get to see just a lot of action in the bottom lane. And Chani, oh, he's so low.
He's burning down. Deathfire touch, but the pot is ticking. Rumble with not quite enough AP yet.
No one actually took a tower. There's no teleports in this game right now because top laners, they can only fight each other when it's Camille versus Fiora. They're not going to use the
that
TP down
teleport
bot lane.
is for flanking in the late game and getting back to lane fast.
You only use it for free kills. That's basically it. So still see this 4v4 siege by the Unicorns. The love tower is dropping fairly low. Still first tower in the game here. No one actually picked one up.
Chachi playing incredibly patient. So many other players may have gone for a dive of their own there, but he's saving the Hextech ultimatum. He knows that he's already winning in pressure and that he can just bide his time. UOL have pressure in just about every lane, even mid lane, starting to shift for Exile. Samek stepping forward, little bits of poke going down. No dive coming out yet, but Joko dropping ever lower. Caitlyn getting shots onto the tower, traps placed down under it as well, and it's getting harder and harder for Vitality to find anywhere safe on the map.
Yeah, this Lulu Caitlyn combo has been good when it comes to just pushing and taking control, and Chachi now getting that first tower up in the top lane after Capo Shot.
And this is got to be frustrating for Capo Shot. This is the solo queue nightmare matchup. You're down 2 levels, you're down kills, you're down CS.
But you also have to blame yourself a little bit. You have to blame yourself a little bit. Going for that dive yourself cost you even more. Still back in his build, Essence Reaver normally super standard. I like to see some armor penetration come in, or should I say lethality come in for Jhin when he's against squishy top lane, a squishy jungler. Everything is squishy actually on this side here. Go Ghost Blade instead and you get insane damage in the mid game. But Essence Reaver is always a safe choice. Get tons of cooldown reduction. Try and create some picks with your support. We can't blame him, but sometimes we want a little more. Because we're very greedy casters, very greedy.
You're very greedy. I love Essence Reaver, man.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said,
you like the armor
Ghost
pen.
Blade?
If no one's gonna build armor, 20 armor pen is a lot of armor.
It reduces a lot of armor.
Reduces a lot of armor. Samek's continuing to push forward. No major item spikes for him quite yet. Steal back, of course. Always happy to play Jhin. Relative power curve. Pretty comfortable whatever you pick up as first item.
But what do you do when you're in this situation where the enemy top laner is Camille? She's taking your tower, she's killing your top laner. Well, I guess you go bot lane again.
Oh, Cersei overstepping into the brush. Curtain Call's coming out. He's trying to flash to safety. Wild Growth won't be enough. In comes the Weaver's Wall, but it's not quite going to make it to the tower. Goes from Nuke Duck. Samek's running. Joko going to connect the axe. Samek's set to fall. Nuke Duck picks up a kill. And Vitality make a play on the bottom side.
And again, it's not the exciting lane to look at, but it was highlighted much earlier how strong the dive is from Vitality on bottom side. With Talia ulti and Malzahar ulti. That combination we're going to see a lot of in the current meta. Top lane.
Wall dive in. Grand challenge has been issued.
I like how Chachi is actually, what he's doing here is just trying to bait Capo Shot's ulti. Because when the Capo Shot ultis, Chachi just eases into the wall and flies back. And then he says, yeah, you know what, your ulti's gone now. And he knows that if he doesn't try and just randomly go for risky all-ins, he's just going to take tower.
I don't know if this is going to be random. He's waiting for the tower to drop. Now he wants to go for it. Talia's on the other side.
Okay.
Down goes the top laner. Exile kills the jungler in the meantime, and Nuke Duck somehow made it to top lane in the time where we were focused on that duel, but it's just constant action across the map.
You get the tower, though, if you're Chachi. I think you're happy enough with it. Another insanely overpowered thing about Camille is her ability to take down towers, because, again, auto-Q. It's just too much damage on these turrets. They go down way too fast. But this is the combo with the Malzahar Talia. We've seen it 500 times already. It's also fairly exciting.
It's fairly exciting.
But it's not Camille Fiora exciting.
It's not Camille Fiora exciting, but we've all been here against the Olaf. The slow run down to death, 3 people chasing you down. The life of an 80 carry.
Trade. Trying to see if we can get Capo Shot's ulti. Actually, he did also come down. Oh, it's just still on cooldown.
Ultimatum is available.
Sometimes the replays do bug out a little bit, but he actually jumped in, and obviously, while he was taking tower, Capo Shot were hitting him. And now, when you play against Fiora, you can actually just at this point say, yeah, you're not gonna do anything in a team fight. You're gonna sit in the side lane. I don't care. Camille is actually a better team fighter than.
And to be fair, at this point, if you're wondering who the carry is for Unicorns of Love, if you couldn't guess, it might just be Vizicachi, because at this point in the game, he has done 40% of his team's damage on this Camille. The constant trading back and forth on the top side of the map, clearly paying off for him as he's now taken down 2 of those top lane towers.
And now you see the QSS, something we've seen before. Old school times. I say old school, it was like last year. People always build it against Fiora to remove the ulti. No longer works.
Doesn't do that anymore.
No
I was like,
longer
where are you? Glad
That's
you
what
knew
I'm
that.
adding. No longer works. However, he still needs it against Malzahar. So it's actually not useful against Cabochard. It also gives him MR, like he doesn't really care about that in this 1v1. But he knows he's going to enter a team fight, and knows that Chani's going to ulti him there.
Oh, here comes Vizicachi. Could just leap right onto Steelback. Not going to do it quite yet, but will pressure him off. But it's Samux who has overextended, straying way too far, and not a whole lot to get excited about here. Samux getting cut down, a smart move from Vitality, but honestly just an overextension in the new 80 carry on the Unicorns of Love.
Oh, Nuke is trying to block them from coming down and killing Joko.
Going in, TP's coming in, Hachani looking to get aggressive. Hylissang has been locked up. What can they get? Nuke is here. That's a ton of damage. Out comes the ultimatum. Nuke now set to die. Will the team join in? He can no longer get the 1v1, but Chachi's cleaning up house. Oh, Hachani may be set to drop. Next to flash out, Cabo with the moves. Cabo pulling back. Exile now the one in trouble. Leaps in from Cabochard. Will he make the hero play? One more. Triple kill for the Fiora.
Oh, this game is so good, man. I love it. Cabochard right back in the game. 4 kills now on Fiora. What a nice fight from Vitality. It all started with this man on your screen, Samux, getting caught in the bottom lane. As a Caitlyn, you really do not want to sit side lane after Linfit is over, because then the big bad bullies are always coming and killing you. And no, this is not 80 carries being underpowered. This is just him overextending. And Nuke actually used ulti to try and block Unicorns of Love with Orianna, as you see on your minimap, from entering the fight earlier. Hylissang goes in, tanks the ulti. I think he goes in a little bit too early. Drops low, but he's just still alive. And you can see they're completely split. Exile is still not in the picture because he was blocked by that ulti from Nuke. And that means Cabochard got a ton of time to just sit and deal damage. And even the 1v2 in the end.
Oh, poor Exile. Slowed down. Shot from long distance by a strange man in a mask. And in the end, taken out. But we look now at the gold. It is almost dead even, and we're 23 minutes in, but it is 4 towers to 1. Vitality need to make moves to take down some of these structures, because Unicorns of Love are already well on their way in each and every one of these lanes.
Yeah, and Unicorns of Love still have fantastic scaling in their composition. A very strong late game team fight. Trying to see if they can catch Joko. Didn't manage to get him, but did force his ulti. So we're still in a good spot. Honestly, for both teams. Slightly worse for Vitality, but definitely not a game they can't win. We see that same thing again now, Dracos, on Orianna with Leandris coming in, where flat magic penetration after Locket lost its MR aura is just so valuable, because again, 80 carries are not getting any MR early. It's even hard for like a support like Malzahar to get anything. So you can just deal a lot of extra damage. Cabochard only has his boots giving him anything, so it's very valuable with flat magic pen. And Leandris against HP, stacking targets as well.
Of course, we do see a little bit of HP building up on the Olaf as well as the Fiora there. But I mean, it's a good point that you bring up. I think a lot of people may forget about how big the Locket nerf really was. 10, 15 magic resist for your entire team adds up so quickly. And of course, the less magic resistance you have, the more that small amount means for you in terms of damage reduction.
Exactly. Lower numbers of armor and MR means a lot, because it's down in the lower numbers where if you add anything to it, the damage reduction increases very fast, but also the other way around. You also can reduce that damage reduction very, very fast. Down in the lower numbers, like sub, is like 70, 80 armor and MR. And that is like, if you look at Steelback, we're scaling MR runes, like he's sitting on 42 at the moment. Actually, might just have, there's some MR runes in there. And 42 MR, it's nothing against magic penetration from boots and an item from Orianna.
Almost true damage coming in, and another Cloud Drake drops in favor of the Unicorns. Once again, not one that you're always excited about, but still good to have here if they want to make more of these picks, especially with the power of that community. Now moving forward, Unicorns of Love set to pressure the tier 2 tower, and Vitality are scrambling on their defense. Jungler and support looking for a way back into the mid lane, maybe looking for a flank here.
But this is what we just highlighted again. Unicorns of Love have great scaling, great 5-on-5 team fighting. So they are more than fine at the moment.
Weaver's wall. The team is split. The wall won't last for much longer. Are they going to commit? Snare onto Hillisang. Where's it going to go? Chachi splits off from the team. Nuke Duck. A little bit of poke, and Unicorns of Love and Vitality playing so patient here.
And now they're backing away. I like how we look at the fans when they're actually done cheering. All right, okay.
It's hard. I feel for our cameraman. They're like, ooh, get that. It's like, no, no, no. They were just, it was a quick thing.
It's fun to look at Samox in this game, because he was actually pushing his lane very aggressively. He was getting a lot of damage on turrets, but he's just been camped over and over and over by Nuke Dog and Joko.
It's interesting, too, because it was the same strategy that we expected from Vitality in Game 1, and we didn't see anything from it. And it didn't look like Samox was going to be the guy that got out of position, but Vitality tried again, and this time it's working out so well for them. A ton of their gold coming from their focus on that bottom side.
Just some big differences. You know, Joko didn't make the same misplay he made in the last game on Rengar, where he got caught under the turret, and also there's no cast and teleport to really try and match the global from Nuke Dog. So Orianna can see her wave die, and then Taliyah walks out of range, and suddenly Taliyah is in the bottom lane, and it's really hard to stop. But we highlighted this before.
Suddenly it's Visit Chachi in the bottom lane, and he's cutting through this tier 2 like it's butter.
It goes way too fast when you have an ability you can use twice as well on
Snare, sidestep, curtain call coming out. Oh, Cersei coming forward, block it for him. Moving in, four shots gonna connect. No, they can't get the angle right. But maybe it's the block that's gonna cost Cersei his life. He throws down the equalizer, but it's too long, and the seismic shove means Nuke Duck will grab the kill.
Chachi's still busy on these turrets here, but Cabochard is here.
It's the 1v1. Exile trying to pull someone back. He is going to connect with one. Hachani goes in, but it's Nuke Duck who says no. Taking down the mid laner for the Unicorns of Love. The battle continues in the jungle, but Vitality are moving towards the Baron Pit. Chachi, what are you going to go for here? The inhibitor is up and available, but the Baron Pit has to be respected.
Yeah, the reason he's going for inhibitor is he's trying to force other members of Vitality to recall. Let's see if he can't win it. He's losing it.
He doesn't have the lifesteal to win out against Cabochard. He's got too much sustain. Chachi now running for his life. Does get the movement speed steroid there, but execute onto Joko. They're not going to be able to get the Baron, and it's mistakes across the board.
Oh, so Chachi tried to play super aggressive on inhib to see if he could take the 1v1 and then also force someone else from Vitality to go back and therefore give up on the Baron. In the end, Chachi does stay alive, and Joko dies, so there's no Baron for Vitality. They lost 2 towers in the bottom lane. Really good pickup here. Nice combo from Nuke Dog. First, his Taliyah in this game has been really, really strong. Great to see him come in, do well. And now we just see the chase. You can't really get away from Olaf here. Another good combo from Nuke Dog. Getting a ton of damage down. Sadly for Vitality, with Hachani dying here, despite killing Exile. They can't take down the Baron.
Unicorns of Love are now the one from the Baron. Steal back. Is he going to be able to get it? No. Going to drop Nuke Duck. It's the grand ultimatum, and it's not enough. Unicorns of Love get the Baron, and they pick off one from Vitality.
Cost him so much, and he's still chasing.
Chachi's not done yet. Hachani, no hope to escape as the double kill drops.
And really, Joko dying to that Baron, costing Vitality a lot here because he had just respawned when Unicorns killed him.
Forward. Is snared for a brief moment there to stop the engage. One member's up, but Chachi just keeps advancing. The raw power of Camille in the hands of the Unicorns of Love looking unstoppable. It doesn't matter what happens to Samox on the bottom side. They cannot stop the Camille on the top side. Now the Camille in their base. Now all of the Unicorns pressing down the curtain call. But in the end, it's just going to be curtains coming out for Vitality. Unicorns of Love cutting down the last tower. One final fight. Hachani's on the way in. Tower getting lower. Steal back now unstoppable. Unicorns of Love living, but they drop one member. Oh, Exile with the ult. Now pulling back. No one else going to be able to get in there. Exile retreating to safety. Vitality stave off the Unicorns for now. Unicorns of Love going to retreat.
They will be able to. Nuke Dog has ulti. Can he try and block the escape?
Oh, Exile Samox. Samox has been left to his own.
Sadly, he has an end. Whoops.
I forgot that the AD carries could even have escapes, Deficio. We've seen so much Jhin, Ashe, and Varus. I just assumed they'd be trapped.
Not this time, Sifa. Not this time. It is the support feeding instead. 0-7 for Hylissang. Doesn't matter though. This is because Joko died at Baron. He just respawned. Vitality, honestly, should just have given it up. End up giving away 1 kill first and a 2nd kill. And that actually cost him 2 inhibs and almost the entire game. When you don't have your jungler there, if you're not really committing to the fight, step away.
I want you to theory craft a little bit with me. What if we take Camille and we attach a fairy and a scary robotic ball to her? Is that more or less overpowered than normal?
I think if you give her some more tools as well when she goes in, where she can call for like an artillery strike as well that comes down, I think that makes it a little bit more balanced. I guess you can also call for your sniper to fire a long-range shot that can also deal a bit of extra damage. And you can then knock people up in the air. I think then she's pretty viable.
Unicorns of Love trying to break the final tower, standing between them and victory. One more inhibitor in their way as well, but they're caught up by the wall. Samix can't even make it out. Equalizer goes down to disengage the fight. Joko hesitating to go in, not a whole ton of damage. Another shot going to connect, but no low health bars on the side of Unicorns. Our Vitality too far behind. Nuke Duck trying to dissuade any further action, but Chachi's now on the front lines. Ultimatum up and available, but Cersei getting caught off on the bottom side. They're not even going to kill the Rumble. Hachani's caught up. The challenge is issued. Fiora wants a kill, but is not going to get it. Cabo forced backwards. Redemption comes down, but not before the Unraveled Earth finds a kill, and Cabo Shard is moving forward. Cabo set to fall, shut down for Chachi. Chachi moving forward, steal back! Gets popped, that's the shutdown, and that's the game. Unicorns of Love moving up 2-0 in their first series, cutting through each and every member of Vitality.
Unicorns of Love looking very, very strong here in the first game. The 2017 UOL Spring Split. A lot of people expect a lot from these guys. Samox coming in, doing his job, and Xerxes being this upgrade, big upgrade in the jungle. But really, Camille versus Fiora, it was fun. We knew Vitality were going to make plays in the bot lane.
A lot of OP champions today. Some of them didn't do what we expected. Camille did.
Camille definitely did. Cabochard will go back and rewatch his dive against the Camille 500 times. See if there was anything else he could have done different. Because Chachi ended up winning the lane on CS, took the tower, took a 2nd tower, and Camille could also enter some fights later on. But it's not just Chachi here. I think actually the rest of Unicorns, the way they bounced back after losing so many members in the bottom lane was really well done. And they obviously had a strong 5-on-5 team fight that was scaling, should also be able to beat Vitality's composition in 5-on-5's late game, and they did do that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it just feels impossible to play against Camille when she's got that much range, that much engage. Maybe if you shut her down early, but when she's ahead...
But that's the thing. You saw that they tried to do it. Joko was up there level 3. The wave was not in a position so he could gank, so he went bot lane, picked up a kill, went back top lane, ended up trading 1 for 2 because Xerxes came up and killed 2 members. So he tried to snowball the Fiora. He tried.
At the end of the day, it was simply not enough. I mean, feels
bad, man?
Feels so bad. Camille is so strong. I cannot imagine the frustration playing against that champion, and I'll never have to because I ban her every game.
Because you're a caster.
It's true. So I'll never play against a really, really good
Camille, one. I also know what your elo is. I'm not going to say it here, but you're definitely not going to face any good ones.
Huge.
Yeah.
Very low.
Not
Actually,
ego.
very, very
not ego.
low.
I mean elo. Let's calm down, Dracos.
Thank you, Deficio. Thank you very much. At the end of the day, I feel like Unicorns of Love, Game 1 really impressed me. Game 2, I feel like it was Camille. The team did coordinate around it. That was great to see. But Game 1 was what really set the standards for Unicorns coming to the season. Still the wacky picks that people love, but fantastic execution.
Yeah, and this time I feel it's wacky picks that has been properly prepared. Because like it wasn't anything we've never seen before. Iron, Lulu, like we've seen all these before. Not everyone is using them very often, especially not in other regions. But they had a clear strategy. They executed it super well in the first game. Second game as well, getting that Camille, and then still drafting a composition that could team fight later, worked really well for them, despite giving up a lot of kills in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think
it's a great start, though.
It's a great start for them. Vitality, of course, a little bit questionable. in a lot of things that they did, but I think they have clear signs and clear marks for improvement here, and I'm really curious as to see what they're going to do as their kind of their next step, like what they're going to take away from this game.
And I know we're only in week 1, so we can't start talking about playoffs and everything, but in Group B, we have H2K, Splice, Vitality, Unicorns of Love, and Origin. And a lot of people are looking at the H2K, Splice, Unicorns, Vitality as the 4 teams fighting for playoffs. So when you start losing these games here, even early, against these opponents you're fighting for these very, very key spots, the top 3, that can cost a lot.
True. And then we're going to have to see how the Unicorns of Love feel, though, to have advanced, have moved up 1 win in the series so far, because Quickshot is standing by with their top laner and their coach.
Thank you very much, the Double D combo, for some amazing calls on the day. I am joined here by VIT Chachi and Sheepy. First of all, congratulations on a fantastic performance. Chachi, you got your hands on Camille. Was that a surprise?
It was kind of surprising, but at the same time not really, because in scrims we play Shen and Poppy usually into Camille, and it kind of works out fine usually. So I thought that they just give Camille and try to pick out the Shen, but they had different plans in mind.
Yeah, different plans. You guys ended up banning that as well, the second phase. Into Cabo's Fiora, you looked like you had his number. Was that, was it a difficult matchup for you?
This matchup is quite easy for Camille in the early game, and I was kind of having a lead as well, but I was respecting the Olaf a bit too much, so I just let him come back a bit. And after that, I think it kind of evens out a bit, because Fiora scares very good as well, and probably outscares Camille in 1v1 later on. So I had to be very careful.
Yeah, definitely. Turning our attention to Sheepy. After the 2-0, convincing, dominant win from the boys, you came running over and really excited. What's it like being a coach backstage, watching the team play so well?
First off, I'm really proud because we have been practicing pretty hard for the last 2-3 weeks, and everybody has been like very strict to the schedule. So when we're going backstage, there's a lot of stuff that we've already practiced in the scrim. So I just need to go to them and say, hey, we played around bot lane, and they want to execute something there. So yeah, basically going back there. Also for the first game for Samox and Xerxe, they didn't really show much nerfs there, so it was really easy interacting in the backstage, and we just went right into pick and bans.
Talking about the first game, whose brainchild was giving up Rengar and Malzahar and locking Poppy and Lulu first rotation and Ivern as well? I mean, where did that come from?
It just originates from the players. We have been talking about what they are fine and comfortable giving away, so Healy loves playing Lulu into Malzahar, and also if Rengar jumps into Lulu, the ultimate just pops up and it's very hard to follow up afterwards. So he feels really comfortable, and that was actually something we had prepared before. So yeah,
it was pretty obvious you'd prepared that one,
exactly.
Sheepy.
So we were really happy when this actually got locked in and Healy could play the Lulu.
Yeah, it definitely seemed the guys on stage were very excited. Chachi, Poppy from game 1. The team comp, obviously you talked about it, you strategized. Is that something we can expect more of from the Unicorns of Love, these well thought out counters to OP champions?
Actually, we can kind of expect that, because we have a lot of picks that we can pick into the right now OP champions, and they don't seem that OP. So we can give up some of them and get something in return. But I think in the first game we had like team comp that was just scaling way better than the enemies, so all we had to do was play a bit safe on lanes, and we knew that we will naturally outscale. So it kind of gives a lot of confidence as well if we can get all the picks that we want, and that's what happened game 1.
Yeah, definitely the case. It was extremely entertaining to watch. I want to stop talking about this series and just step back. Chachi, I'm sure you've had a chance to scrim a lot of teams, throughout the ULCS. In terms of the Group B and the rest of the teams we've seen over the last 2 days, this was one of the most dominating performances. Where is Unicorns of Love power ranking? How much better can you get?
I think we are kind of even with H2K or Splice right now, and I believe we have more potential than them. And I think our roster right now is extremely talented. The 2 players that we picked up are really good and show a lot of promise in the future as well. So I believe this is maybe one of the most talented rosters that I've had the pleasure to work with. So I'm really looking forward to where we can improve, and I believe in the team.
Sheepy smiling like a proud dad. This is the last question, Sheepy. How will you keep your unicorns in line and not prevent them going down the chaos-style route that we've seen from unicorns of past?
Well, if that's the winning style, then we go whatever style they want to go for. But I just support the players and play on their strengths. So I'm really excited where this is going to head. I don't know either. But so far, I just see the same promise that Chachi is seeing. So I'm so excited for the coming weeks. I think we can improve a lot.
Fantastic. Thank you again for the interview. Congratulations on the 2-0. We're going to head over to the analyst desk to take away the post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Quickshot. Indeed, we are here in the post-game lobby. I'm joined by the Fisho. Power Evil is still here, as well as Vedius. You just came off casting that. We just talked to Vizicachi. He's also our player of the series for that one. And oh my gosh, there we go. I suggest...
I agree.
And you agree. I suggest that we look at some of that Camille work. And I want to talk to you a bit, because you hinted at her as a power pick. This is the first time that we saw her. Talk me through.
Great prediction.
Yeah, in my video, I might have highlighted her as a pick to watch, and I hope you're watching, because this is why you should ban her every single game. She has really good dueling power. I was a little bit confused as to this play as to why Cabo didn't commit to the 1-for-1 in that scenario. Even though he was outplayed, I feel like he could have maybe gotten away with something, but regardless, that's really where the snowball started to happen for Camille. And after that single kill, that's all you really needed. He got that Trinity Force power spike that we love to talk about, and it really just ran away with the game.
Yeah, definitely did. Aside from that, though, the picks and bans in general, we saw... I heard you guys talking to each other about the pick and ban phase out, and you were saying to Fisho how you liked the pick and ban from Vitality a lot more, and Power, you were echoing that at the beginning. They had kind of the same tools that they did in Game 1. They just had to pull the trigger early.
Well, so what people like is going Shen against Kamal, because you have like the more global pressure, you can ult towards bot lane. I think Shen actually wins early game against Kamal as well, so it's a fine matchup. But since they banned the Ray, there was only Fiora left. And I actually think that Fiora would have worked out as well, since he was equal in the laning phase, he was doing good, he was getting good trades, because it's a skill matchup in the early game, but then he overstepped, and I think he just threw the game away, since Vitality team comp was all around bot lane again, and I think they completely changed up their playstyle from Game 1 to Game 2. They found these picks on bot lane, they actually made the Talia roams happen with the Olaf this game, so I think they played really, really good around bot side and got these kills. And I think Fiora should have just played safe and let Vitality on bot lane do the thing.
Yeah, I think I would have loved to see in the pick and ban phase was in that last pick on the first phase where they picked Olaf, which I don't really think they had to do. We picked the Shen there instead. Because as you just highlighted, the plan was camp bot lane. Yes, Fiora could have worked top lane, but it didn't fit the actual comp because they got so many kills. I think Hylissang was 0-7, something towards the end, and Samus was like 0-3 after laning phase because they kept doing this over and over. Obviously also because there was no casting with TP to stop Talia from just going bot lane over and over. And because after the first game, we were ramping a bit about the Talia not roaming enough, and you found that was a huge improvement for Nukeduck for this game.
Yeah, so he always pushed the lane out, he always got the first roams. It was really smart that when Exile was kind of pressuring bot lane or looking for the first roam, that they didn't make a play happen and they just played safe. So I think that was just a huge improvement, not only from Nukeduck, but from Jocko as well, because he played around the side where they needed to play from, and I think they just played really good as a four-man. Yeah, they did, and it is a very unfortunate start from the side of Vitality. We heard they were talking to Sheepy, but a very good start for the Unicorns of Love. And Vizicachi had said it in the trailer, we're aiming for #1, and they have a fantastic start.
I mean, it's definitely a good start for the Unicorns of Love, but a lot of big question marks for Vitality as well, because I feel that they were in firm control of that game. They even had a phenomenal mid-game fight. They moved up to Baron. I think they ended up losing a member. And then died. And then they just died to Baron. There were promising aspects in Game 2 from Vitality. This is a great illustration of that, like what we saw from the Talia cutting off, the collapse coming out from the Unicorns, actually ended up winning them this fight overall, which demonstrate that Vitality definitely have at least the mechanics, at least a lot of potential, but just a lot of questionable decision-making as well. So, more question marks.
I think Talia played here really good as well. Zoned to Orianna from the fight and came first. She ended up dying third, but I think it was winning them the fight. And actually, Kabashat got a triple kill here from this fight and kind of came back into the game. But I think it was too late since Camille was really, really strong, 2 levels ahead or something. So.
And 60 CS.
Yeah, 60 CS as well, so it was really, really hard for Fiora to do anything anymore. And what he just highlighted with the Baron play, I think Vitality could have maybe gotten this Baron, but I think the camera didn't even show what happened.
So basically, Hachani died trading his life for exile, so they walked into Baron
okay.
without his help as well, and Joker was tanking it for the entire time, while Kabashai was trying to defend Inhib versus Chachi. So Joker was just kind of alone in there. I think actually we might have, actually this is not the replay, it's just after Unicorns have already
But the weird thing
game.
was like, I think that Joker was alive, Steelback and Talia. So
And Talia, yes.
But,
yes.
but when Joko died, actually Talia and Steelback were both full life, so I think it was really questionable Baron.
Yeah, because the camera said it didn't show it because we were watching the 1v1 near Inhib, so we didn't
Yeah.
actually get to see a whole lot. Suddenly Joker was just dead, and that meant the Baron you just saw in this replay super quickly, Joker was dead while that actually was started, and obviously there was nothing Vitality could do on. To add on to the questionable plays, they actually decided to walk in 4 members with no smite. They didn't want to fight, they just stayed there, and then 2 of them died, and they lost like 2 inhibs. So
they should have just gave up the Baron
give it
and look to make a cross-map play, maybe get a Dragon, maybe get a turret, but this Baron was gone 100%.
But that's kind of Vitality from last year. Again, we're like, oh, great play. Oh, this is pretty interesting. Oh, this player is doing well. And weird call, mistake, and the game is over. It happened over and over. It's why they obviously didn't make playoffs in the summer split, changed players, some of the players.
Where are they in your tier list?
They are currently Misfits tier, which is C tier.
C tier.
So A, B, C,
I'm looking at it. So.
ED.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a bit more about your tier list in a bit, and of course we just want to prove you wrong. No. Just
actually,
kidding.
so far
it's a
pretty
source for
spot on.
discussion.
It's pretty spot on at the moment.
Pretty spot on. Well, let's start then by your Misfits. Your Misfits tier. They took on Giants.
I think that's very fair. I think you guys have a lot of potential, but there are still some things we need answered. And you guys 2-1 against Giants. That little throw in game 1 wasn't exactly the greatest, and I think that's something that happens for new teams, and it's perfectly understandable.
Yeah, I think we just need some more time to get used to the stage and play as a team. I think we got every game these early leads, but I think we just didn't have the right synergy in all the fights yet, and I think if we can improve on this, I think we're going to be at least a middle pack team.
And something that you were talking about earlier on, Paraviva, was for someone like Hansama, for someone like Afari, this is their first time on the LCS stage. Like, nerves can be a bit of an issue, and we saw that in some of the plays today.
Yeah, and the mistake we did see in game 1 is something we've seen from almost every single LCS team before. They have the advantage, they need to start setting up around Baron and push in the vision, and it slips a little bit, they don't get the pick they were looking for, and they kind of panic start the Baron. We've seen it time and time again, and teams have always been able to fix it and got much better during the split. So that is really, again, why you guys come in as a team with potential.
Yeah.
But you're not like a top team yet.
Yeah, I like that you say the fact that we obviously see that from a lot of teams that have just joined the LCS, but it sometimes takes them 1 or 2 splits to make up for those things that they do every single game. And here, from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, Misfits just completely turned it around and did not make the same mistakes again. So that at least colors me more hopeful than I would have some other teams in the past who kept doing those Baron baits and failing, who kept making those decisions.
And for me, it's actually Ignar that I'm really excited to see, because I felt like that even if in his debut performance on the LCS stage, I mean, Paravival's just a consistent, solid performer, but Ignar's the guy that for me was just so good throughout this series. He was just always in the right place at the right time. Something that Paravival was saying during the Vitality game was, it was like, Hachani's doing really well, very similar to what Ignar's doing. Just he was always focusing the right targets, he was always in the right place at the right time, and I just think that he has so much potential for such a young support that he's a very exciting prospect.
Did you have another choice for player of the series?
In the Misfits game or in this one? No, I actually think Paravival, you had some really good moves, but I think Ignar was the deserved MVP of that one. Mainly in game 2 when he turned it on Malzahar, and I think him just like kind of forcing play, setting up that Baron as well, was really important.
I was saying as well. I think game 1 was like, I think everyone did I think the same, but I think second game he picked it up with Mazza and got us a lot of catches, a lot of roams, and third game Tarek, I think it was just a really good pick decision from him. He decided to go for Tarek just for team fights, since we had the Maokai, we had the Sintra.
So was it up to him to choose a Tarek? Do you kind of have decision power in the picks and bans?
Yeah, like normally we discuss our picks and bans beforehand, obviously, but we adapted throughout the series. So we banned Ilaoi. We decided to not pick Sintra that early anymore, and we normally discuss with the coach as well. So the coach is giving us some options, and I think it's really good, since you can kind of pick what you feel most comfortable with, and I think that's important as well. So the player feels the most comfortable in his pick.
Yeah, it's a democracy until you mess up. Then
until you mess up, then the coach will decide everything from there. But you must also be pretty happy with your group. Like, I looked at Group A and I felt like, okay, G2 is like the clear-cut number 1 from what we expect, at least coming into the split. And then Fnatic and Misfits are two teams where we're like, okay, there's actually a lot of things we like about these lineups, and they can really become good teams. And then Giants and Rocket were big question marks. So I feel like you already beating Giants today, despite, okay, making that mistake in game 1, you were clearly the best team in the next 2 games. That also must give you guys a lot of confidence in just making playoffs, because you're kind of fighting the teams underneath you in Rocket and Giants to just keep them away.
Well, since it was our first series and we just started, it's hard to say how we're going to do, but I think we have a lot of work to do, but I think we are going to aim for this first and second spot. But right now I would still give it to Game as True.
Okay, good. And with that, we're going to take a look at your tier list. Oh, yours and Crepo's tier list.
Yeah, let's give Crepo some credit here as well.
Definitely.
His face
So
is
you
up
said
there.
already Misfits tier. They're in there with Vitality. And then OG and Giants back in E tier. Is there anything you'd want to change straight off the bat if this was week 6 and these results continued? Is there anything you'd want to change?
I think...
Do you want to change anything, the Fisio?
Anything I would change. What are you hinting at here? Oh, you want to move my Vitality to B? Is that...
I'm not too sure about that.
I think for now it's fair enough. I mean, there's a big question about Rocket. We obviously haven't seen them yet. They're playing tomorrow. If they actually are better than Origin and Giants, I think there's a high chance these teams are actually very close to each other. But I think with Misfits and Vitality kind of stand by the position at the moment where we like the roster's potential is definitely there, but they got to show it, they got to improve to become one of the top teams.
And for me, it feels that right now Misfits are at like a C+, making their way towards that B roster, but after a couple more series, we could very well see them moving into that. Whereas I think that Vitality are the ones on the C-, making their way down.
They play a much harder opponent today
They
than
certainly
Unicorns.
did. They certainly did. That is very true, and we have to factor that in. But overall, I also think that, as you mentioned earlier, A is a little bit more cut and dry as to who we think is top and bottom. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams progress, but I agree with the Fisher.
It's pretty bang on the money so far.
I think there's a chance Splice, maybe coming into the split, might not sit like a tier above like Fnatic and Unicorns and these guys.
Do you have any inside power?
I think there's a high chance they're probably around the same level.
So from our scrim experience, I actually think Splice is probably one of the best teams.
Well, perfect.
I would
Keep them in
actually,
I
would actually rate them the same as Game as True or a little bit above them, since I think they just play overall as a team like insanely good, and they never throw the game in scrims, and they just always keep the lead. Which you can see at like other teams, they always make like this one mistake, someone gets caught, you can get a comeback. But I think Splice never really does it, so I think Splice is probably one of the best teams.
Always been fun. We have to remember, this is just the first few games in week 1.
Yeah.
You know, everything can still change. But so far, feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, our tier list looking pretty good. And then, well, you said Gamers 2. I just so Ocelot wouldn't be
Ocelot
honest.
is actually dying
Esports, G2 Esports, Misfits, H2K, and Unicorns of Love. The winners so far in week 1. Take a look at the standings. It is quite the same as the tier list, I think. G2 is there at the top with a series win, as well as H2K with a series win, Misfits as well, and in the end, joined by the Unicorns of Love in the standings.
We are
Just
the
imagine.
standings
We are the
right now.
standings.
I'm G2, this is Misfits, Fnatic down there.
Yeah.
This is Group A so far.
So we are first place, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're tied with me for first.
I would like to see the standings, though, actually.
I think we should just talk about something else.
Yeah, well, apparently the standings are bugging for a second, but those are the teams that have won so far. A lot to be expected. H2K won, but not super convincing. Is that fair to say, or?
Well, I think there's still a couple more questions left to be had, and I'm really excited for tomorrow's games in particular because we finally see Splice and we get to see Rocket. And I know that G2 and H2K also make a return, so I think that both teams should have fairly challenging games ahead of them. But I think we should have a pretty exciting day tomorrow.
Yep, I would love to take a look at the schedule as well for tomorrow because we have 2 more best of 3s coming your way, as Vedio has already teased at. We have G2 taking on Rocket and Splice versus H2K. And if there was ever a chance to see what Splice is made of, that's going to be the matchup power.
Well, I'm really excited about Splice versus H2K, since I think both are really, really good teams. And just from the experience, or from what I said before, I would give it to Splice in a 2-1, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game, or a close series. So I think Splice needs to like kind of show what they can do on LCS stage as well.
Yeah, and I feel like also H2K needs to show that what they showed yesterday is not the actual level right now for the team, but at the same time, it's really hard to kind of criticize a week 1 performance because they obviously made quite a lot of changes, complete new bot lane.
That's your job.
There. It is our job, but at the same time, it's also our job to kind of say, calm down, everyone.
Guys.
It's week 1, you know. Stuff can happen. You might lose your first
Baby
game.
Faker.
Baby Faker is already in the house. We kind of killed that one yesterday. So That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, tonight at midnight, Central European summertime. No, it's not summer time, it's winter. That is actually in 2 hours. The NALCS will be kicking off at 3 p.m. Pacific. TSM versus Cloud9 and Echo Fox versus Phoenix One. The fish show, that's 2 hours away. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like... No.
Aren't you more excited to watch more EU mids play against each other?
I always love watching EU Danish mid laners as well. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, to be honest, a super hype matchup for them to start everything off.
All right, it's a perfect game to start. You know, two of the best teams last year. No changes. Well, one change per team that can be very impactful. I think most people, obviously, with Wild Turtle want to see what he can do. But then also new jungler for Cloud9 is going to be pretty hype.
So do you guys want to do...
Who's the new Cloud9 jungler again?
Contracts.
Oh, contracts, oh yeah.
With the hip Z at the end. Do you guys want to give a quick prediction for that TSM Cloud9 game coming up?
This is based off absolutely nothing.
Where's your NA prep, Betty?
But because I like Cloud9, I'll say 2-1 Cloud9.
Ooh.
Power.
I have absolutely no clue.
I do this.
You got a safe face, man. The fish show.
2-1 TSM.
2-1 TSM.
I would probably
Power?
just go with TSM. TSM, you know.
Always a pretty safe bet.
TSM chance, you know.
All right. Well, we will see what happens at a time for us to log off here in Europe. For now, thank you guys very much, and join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Actually, I think it might be 4 p.m. That is 8 p.m. That would be then 7 p.m. a.m. Pacific as we conclude week 1 of the ULCS Spring Sprint. Have a great night.
Great outro.
Goodbye.
Down the bottom lane, it's Ignor that lands and Cacao coming for support. Leap. A little bit of trouble yet. Dear Sentence connects on tonight. Special delivery is available and used. Does not matter. And Giants upset the apple cart and take down Misfits. 200 HP. Cacao Sonic gets the kill.
I didn't think he was going to get away from that. Oh!
Is that double digits? Hustling gets it back! This is going to a decider game. Cacao Alfari leading the charge. The Nexus is destroyed and Misfits dominate game 2. 5 members of Misfits chasing down Blackfish. He's stunned by Scatter the Weak and he's killed by Power of Evil. Hustling's already down. Hunt Summer's found EQ. Baron not going to get enlisted. I thought he was about to attack. Knight and Memento running for their lives. It's great to see the coaching staff backstage making their way up. Memento's done a lot of damage. Jumps into the pit. Does it again! That's a Baron steal for Memento. Misfits turn their attention to the Nexus. They're ignoring the champions. And Misfits defeat Giants.
This is absolute disaster. Romain in the back, cheering for the team. Though Hillisang is in trouble. He's going to get popped. That's a lot of damage. That is not enough. Hillisang goes down in the end. Cabo, though, trades his life for it. Joe goes down as well. Out comes the ace in a hole. Harry going in. Hextech ultimatum available. Going to try to trap him in there. Cabo cannot afford the bait. Next to flash out. Cabo with the move. Cabo pulling back. Exile's now the one in trouble. Leaps in from Cabo Shark. Will he make the hero play? One more bullet. Cabo goes in. Triple kill. A shutdown for Chachi. Chachi moving forward. Steal back. Get popped. That's the shutdown, and that's